So happy to have everyone here. We're going to, just as we bring more people in, we're going to go ahead and play the Chambers for Sustainability Coalition short video. It's only 2 minutes, so it'll be a good opener as more people are coming in, and then we'll get started. So go ahead, Haley.
Our mission is to engage chambers of commerce around the world to lead on sustainability, on climate action, and on green business practices. So to connect, educate, inspire, and of course we need to act. We will be successful when all businesses go green. And together we can achieve this goal because as chambers of commerce, we are the business leaders in our communities.
What we can do as a collective group is jot down what services and what resources we provide so that we can share that with each other, because I'd certainly like to be able to look and see what you do. And those collaborations are incredibly important.
It's a very attractive opportunity to bring businesses within our network and our particular network and the network of the coalition into an international platform.
Chamber of Commerces are in a unique position to bridge between business stakeholders, residents, and policymakers. That said, it's not an easy pathway, as you know, on some of these issues. And so the chambers play a role of being a little bit of the middle person.
Our first job is to pose questions, to lead public discussions around D&I topics, both locally and globally. We need to help encourage and reinforce cultural change.
The coalition has been growing exponentially. We have already expanded past 8 countries, developed a monthly webinar series, launched Chamber of the Week recognitions, and so much more.
Thank you so much. And I want to get this meeting started by, again, welcoming everyone, because I know we have a bunch more people that just joined, and introducing our amazing team. That this would not be possible without Amanda, who is our Chamber for Sustainability Manager, Haley, who's our Sustainability Research and Marketing Associate, and Jesse, who is our Global Climate Communications Analyst. So thank you so much, and I'm going to hand it over to Amanda, who will be running this meeting.
Thank you so much for everyone that came and all of our speakers for joining today. We would like to invite each of you to join on building this exciting new coalition, as you saw in this video. If you would like to be a part of the first steps and meetings, or would just like to know more information, please just send me an email at amanda@usgreenchamber.com. I will be putting that in the chat as well. Today, we will be having a Q&A at the end of the webinar. So please, audience members, if you have any questions that you would like answered by the panelists, just shoot them to Jesse Donk-Rains in the chat, and he will be relaying those near the end of the event. I would first and foremost like to thank all of our speakers for joining our call today. Each of them are very accomplished and have largely contributed to the sustainability sector through their chambers. If you'd like to see their full biographies, they have been posted onto our Eventbrite. And today we are going to be featuring speakers from all over North America. We are happy to welcome the Burnaby Board of Trade, the San Marcos Chamber, the Reno and Sparks Chamber, as well as the Rome Floyd Chamber of Commerce. And we do have a special guest speaker today, which is Glenn Hallam. We are super excited to have him. And I will hand it over to Michelle, who will be introducing.
Yes, we are really happy to have you with us, Glenn, and it was last minute, so I wanted to do a special introduction because we didn't get to put out all of the wonderful promotion. So Glenn is a world-renowned a leader, really bringing together international businesses and building collaborations to accelerate change for the planet. Glenn has attended Stanford and University of Minnesota and has his PhD in psychology and quantitative methods. Glenn is the founder of Green Dot Ventures, and they focus on 2 initiatives: Green Wave, which is a leadership conference now in its 3rd year, and the Green Pin Consortium, which is to build and maintain an integrated database on greener business locations. And Glenn has really we're bringing Glenn into our space because he is collaborating with us to bring international connections and chamber leaders together in building a sustainable global chamber movement. So could not be in a more perfect space for us. And I will hand it over to you, Glenn, and say thank you again for being with us.
Okay. Is this a brief introduction now, or
Yeah. now you can talk.
No, I think I have a slot later on, but right, I'm just introducing myself. Well, hello, everybody. I'm really honored actually to be here, and really impressed by Michelle and what she's done in terms of bringing really great energy and creative collaboration in what she's doing. Creative collaboration really is all about what I'm about, which is bringing people together who are leaders in some way in sustainability, people who I think are, they're bright and open to collaboration and helpful, to one another. And we try to bring together people who I think have a genuine desire to make a difference for the planet, which often translates into the ability to really, to compromise and to collaborate and actually, work with other people in a way that's constructive. I think I have a speaking slot later on here, right?
No, right now. If
Okay.
You want it.
Okay, very good. All right, no, I'll take it. I'll take it. Yeah, very good. I'm so sorry. Well, so let me give you some background here. Just some observations about businesses. I come out of the industry of executive development, having worked with mid to upper level execs for a long time. I did my first startup 25 years ago, building systems related to leadership in organizations. And I've had a chance really to explore all forms of leadership, mostly in large corporations, and explore different aspects of leaders. How do leaders make things happen, basically? One definition of leadership is mobilizing and aligning resources to make good things happen and to make a positive future happen. And it's often done by casting a really compelling vision that really engages people's hearts and minds. And I try to encourage people in sustainability, and I started working in sustainability a few years ago, just focusing on those leaders that are leading for the planet. I personally just felt a moral obligation, to devote my life really to this, to helping good things happen for the planet. Like a lot of people, I've spent a good deal of my life outdoors, as a cyclist, road biker and mountain biker, and I like to be outside. And like a lot of us, I really connect with the outdoors, and it speaks to me. And I grew up in Los Angeles, where there's a lot of beauty. For example, at the beaches, I live at the beach just north of LA. Mountains are beautiful, the desert's beautiful, but it's also it's just a huge area that was really quite ridden with smog growing up. I was a runner growing up, and I can remember many days when after running, I could hardly breathe. You'd inhale a little bit and you begin to cough. So I developed a sensitivity early on, about the planet, a love for it, and a fear that we're going to be destroying it. And I talked to a lot of people who I think all agree that we're on a very problematic trajectory as a planet. And my interest is specifically in businesses and how you can help businesses to move faster, right? Companies are systems, they're organizational systems that typically were not formed to protect the planet. That's not their purpose. Their purpose is typically to create economic opportunity, right? And yet companies are the biggest consumers of the planet. Therein lies the problem. If you love this planet, if you're concerned about where it's going, and you have all of these systems out there that really are not about protecting the planet, something fundamental has to happen. I've been running this conference called Green Wave now for several years, actually. We're on our 5th program that we're going to do in July. And by the way, we're hoping to have a special session just on greening of chambers. I'm hoping to work with Michelle, and perhaps some of you would be interested in speaking at that part of the conference. Green Wave is about bringing together leaders in a very interactive kind of environment. We called it an unconference. It's really about producing relationships. We do curate the leaders and we prepare them so that that you're meeting people who are high quality. We've been waiving the fee for people, so this has not been a moneymaker for us. It's really it's really about the magic of what can happen if you bring talented people together who all have a passion for the planet, and then who all have an ability to work creatively with each other to create partnerships. A couple more remarks I'll make here, and then I'll give my time up to the next person here. But what I'm interested in doing really is helping you all take what you're doing and really build upon what you're doing. My first step is really learning about what you're doing and seeing what's super high quality and what's compelling to other people and where do you have traction and what other partners do you have, in doing this. But I really fundamentally would like to be a partner in helping to take it to the next level, where we really are systematically building relationships across virtually all countries of the world. I intend to help initially by working to bring people into a special session of our conference called Green Wave, so that people can begin, like we're doing here, to be sharing best practices and how we're greening chambers and creating a dialogue. At any rate, I think Michelle brought me in because I think I have a good way to really introduce y'all to new people and to create good things in the future. I think we have a very common vision about really trying to do what's right for the planet. And I want to welcome any of you to reach out to me personally if you'd like to have a conversation with me about this. But I'm generally here to help Michelle and you all be successful in building this globally.
Thank you, Glenn. I want to just make a quick comment on Green Wave because I've had the privilege of attending two. And the first one met with Amazon, some leaders at Amazon, some sustainability directors at Harvard, other chambers of commerce. And we have already, through those connections, made immense progress towards developing really deep relationships with and that's just a sampling of what we got out of attending Green Wave. Glenn and his team just do a phenomenal job. So I just hats off to them. And thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
Perfect. And so I guess we should just get right into the beef of everything. And I will transition over to our first chamber speaker for today, which will be Paul Holden from the Burnaby Board of Trade, which is based in Canada. Paul?
Hi, good morning, everybody. Yes, my name is Paul Holden. I'm the president and CEO of the Burnaby Board of Trade, which is the Chamber of Commerce for the city of Burnaby and also the Economic Development Office for the city as well. They contract that role out to us. A little bit of context, because many of you may not know where Burnaby is. We are right next door to Vancouver. We're the third largest city in the province of British Columbia, with a population of about 250,000. One of the most diverse cities, not just in the province, but in the country, where 57% of our population doesn't have either English or French as their first language. In fact, there's a school just down the road from our office where between the students, they speak almost 110 different languages. So very, very diverse community, and diverse in its sectors too. The tech sector, film and digital media, life sciences, and clean energy is a huge sector for us here in Burnaby. Next slide, please. I think somebody's clicking. So some years ago, and we were very much leaders, I think, in our area, at least in this thinking, we decided to adopt the mandate of being a triple bottom line chamber. So beyond just our role as an economic development organization, we realized the importance of looking beyond that and embedding environmental and social sustainability into the work that we do alongside the work of economic development. And that's really helped to guide us in our advocacy positions, in the policies that we develop, in the programs we develop, to make sure that we've approached them from that triple bottom line lens of all three areas. Next slide, please. So embracing environmental sustainability, one of the committees that when I joined the organization 10 years ago that was already in place and still performs this function is an environmental sustainability committee, which helps to advise us and work with us on prioritizing and developing programming that we can bring to our membership in the areas of sustainability. And when we look at these programs and pick up on a couple of the comments that have been made already, you know, our role as a chamber, we believe, is to lead, is to educate, it's to inform, and it's to engage. We don't see ourselves as necessarily policing what people do, but we certainly want to make sure that we're showcasing for our members the benefits of understanding and embracing sustainability and what it can do, not just for the community, but what it can do for their organization as well. And the greatest achievement really from that committee, and this was developed about 9 years ago, was the launch of a program called the Pledge for a Sustainable Community. Next slide, please. So this program, and this is just a screenshot, I'd invite anybody who's interested to look at bbotpledge.ca and play around with the website and explore that and see what's going on. But really what you'll find on this website are a significant amount of resources for business. You'll see along the bottom there the areas that we covered in terms of information for people to look at how they can become more sustainable. And within each of those resources, we've broken it down for people who are just beginning their journey of sustainability, people who are at what you might call the intermediate level, and people who are already quite advanced, but really want to make sure that they're understanding how they can further embed sustainability within their organizations. So lots of resources, lots of tips, really important part that we found, not just in the Pledge program, but in everything that we do, is the sharing of success stories. Businesses really need to see from other businesses the benefits that they have accrued from adopting more sustainable policies, and really understanding not just what the moral case, not just what the ethical case is around sustainability, but is there a business case there too? And our success stories and the work that we do on through the Pledge and other programming really does showcase a lot of the great work people are doing and making sure that other businesses understand what they can achieve if they go down that path as well. Within this, you'll see near the top, there's the banner which says take the pledge. We invite businesses to take a pledge where they commit to their peers, to their customers, to their staff. This is what we're going to do. These are the measures that we will take, and they can use some of the tips and resources that we've provided, or they can come up with their own. We've had many organizations put a team together specifically to develop a pledge for their organization. Once they've done that and they've taken the pledge, they post it to us and it becomes part of our pledge directory. And I think we have about 160, 170 businesses on there now who have all pledged to do better, pledged to do more in the area of sustainability. We've had for the chambers watching this thinking, well, how do you fund this? Well, we managed to get a lot of sponsors. There are a lot of businesses out there that really wanted to see this be successful and have worked with us and have become sponsors and partners in the development of this program. Next slide, please. The program's had a lot of recognition over the years. In 2015, when it was about 4 years old, it was recognized as a finalist in the World Chambers competition in the area of Best Corporate Social Responsibility Project. Next slide, please. And I've just listed off here, these are some, they're not all to be honest, but a number of the awards that the program and we have received over the years for this program, dating right the way back there to 2013. So I'd like to think we're a little bit ahead of the curve in terms of the work that chambers have been doing in this area. And it certainly has helped to position us as a leader in our community, a leader locally and provincially amongst chambers in helping businesses to understand why this is a path that they can go down. And I think one of the beauties of the pledge was it created that community of businesses that all wanted to move in the same direction, that were all happy to showcase the work they've done and share the success that they've achieved. And as we all know, the more that happens, the more people like to join that group and to join that team, so to speak. Next slide, please. I'm going to skim through these. They're quite text heavy, these, but what this also shows is a lot of the work that we've done in the area of advocacy for climate action, advocacy in the area of water conservation. Next one, please. Advocacy in the area of looking for federal and provincial supports for business. One area that we found that a lot of smaller businesses were saying, well, I really want to do this, but I don't know if I have the ability to invest upfront in some of the equipment I might need or some of the other practices that I might need to bring into my company. So we've done a lot of advocacy work federally and provincially for small business aid to help businesses move themselves forward. We have an annual Green Talks Sustainability Forum, which is very, very well sponsored by some of our business partners, where we have a number of speakers that talk about their success stories in the area of environmental sustainability. And again, I won't read all these out. You can see yourselves on these, but a lot of work ongoing in terms of sharing information, best practices, and success stories. Next one, please.
So sorry to
Okay.
interject, but this is your 30 seconds remaining notice.
Okay, I've got 30 seconds left. So what I'll just say to all the chambers out there is, we've certainly found, and I know you will too, that a lot of benefits in positioning ourselves and embedding within ourselves the mandate of being a triple bottom line chamber. I think it really has differentiated ourselves from other organizations, but more than that, what it has done is it's brought our business community together for a much broader goal of success and a much broader way of measuring success as a business community. So I think that's probably my time up. Thank you very much for having me here today, and we look forward to engaging further.
Thank you so much, Paul. It's amazing to see chambers that are working on initiatives, and as many initiatives as you have been working on. It's great to see how much recognition you've been getting. I think I counted 5 awards that you received. That's incredible. Also, I saw on your website that recently you hosted a carbon accounting workshop just in March, and it's great to see that you're making sure that your businesses are staying ahead of the environmental trends, which is absolutely essential, especially considering the circumstances we're in right now. Our next speaker will be Rick Rungaitis from the San Marcos Chamber in California. Rick?
Thanks, Amanda. Before I get started with my presentation, I just want to say I love webinars like this because as Paul's making his presentation, I'm scribbling notes. I love the pledge. So I can't wait to steal that idea. But anyway, my name is Rick Rungaitis. I'm the CEO of the San Marcos Chamber. San Marcos is located in the northern part of San Diego County, which is referred to as North County. Our city is about 100,000 in population as a northern suburb. You know, all of our chambers collaborate. I think we've got a couple from North County even on this today. And so Brett Schotzenbach with the CEO of the Carlsbad Chamber had sent out information about the U.S. Green Chamber. And so I reached out to Amanda and Michelle and had a great conversation. And, you know, through that conversation, learned that our chamber needs to do more, and we're doing maybe more than I thought. And so we recently joined the Chambers Coalition for Sustainability. I'm so excited that we're part of this group, and it's such an important organization. I'm no expert on sustainability, and actually I've learned a lot in the last couple of months because we're somewhat late to the game. But I know all of you, whether you're in chambers or your business, you've got all these things you want to do, but if you don't do them in the right order, if you try to do them all at the same time, none of them are going to work. So now we're focusing on this issue. Our role, and similar to what Paul said, it's not, I look at our role as a chamber is to not have all the answers, but get our members to the people that do have the answers. And that's one of the reasons I reached out to the U.S. Green Chamber, is to be able to provide resources to our members. What we're doing is we're working with our partners to educate them, inform them from a sustainability standpoint and what they can do, because this is happening and it's critical to our existence. And so, our role as a chamber is to make sure it works for businesses fiscally as well. And so it's, some of these things we have to do them, but not only from a eco-friendly standpoint, but also from an economic standpoint. And so the city of San Marcos has a climate action plan that's been approved by the city. It was developed to support the state's goals of reducing GHG emissions to 1990 levels by 2020 and 40% below 1990 levels by 2030. So we're looking at a 10-year plan. So part of the plan for the city is they developed a climate action working group. So a group of 5 people, and these were people who were selected by the city council. So I serve on that as the vice chair, and it was important for me to be involved in that because I really wanted to make sure that we're rolling this out in a not just an efficient manner, but also making sure that the businesses are educated, make sure they understand how to go about doing the sustainability in the proper way to help their business. And not, none of this, but let's all do this together and make it work. So that's the first part of working with the city. The other part that is really interesting is that our city is looking into a single-use plastic ban. Sometimes we forget the world before the pandemic, and this was something that was a priority to the city. And then when our world turned upside down, it like so many things kind of got in the back alley. But it's still critical. And so now we're gonna start re-looking at that single-use plastic ban. And there's sometimes you take a stance on issues with the city, but there's also times where it's not about taking a stance, it's about educating our businesses and helping. So before the pandemic, we hosted a webinar for all of our members. This was back when we were in person, and it was an opportunity. We had several businesses come to our office and met with the city manager and the assistant city manager, and they gave a presentation on what was about to come about. Because in the state of California, this is going to happen. So our city has been progressive, and so we wanted to make sure we're in front of it. And so, we've been working with the California Restaurant Association. What I found out and passed along, there's going to be ways that is actually reducing costs in a single-use plastic ban. It's tricky right now because restaurants have been going through a time where takeout only was what they were able to do. But as we start to climb out of this pandemic, there's going to be opportunities for them to not only do this in the right way, but also do it in a fiscally responsible way. So it's, again, important for us to educate. The last thing I wanted to point out and discuss was one of our partners is EDCO. And EDCO is the waste management and recycling company for San Marcos. So again, we're working with our partners, EDCO being Jim Ambroso, who's the general manager, sits on our board of directors. They have developed this organic recycling program. And it's right now, they just rolled it out for residential. They have like a little green cart that you're supposed to use, and I have one at home for me. And all this waste, what it does is it goes into, they've built this, and you see on this slide, this anaerobic digestion facility. It was mandatory recycling of organic waste is the next step to achieving California's zero waste. And EDCO has constructed this first state-of-the-art advanced technology facility in San Diego County, capable of producing renewable natural gas that will serve the needs of the region. Again, our role in the chamber is to make sure we get this information out. And if you can go to the next slide, it shows a little bit about what I was talking about with the little green cart. And it's confusing. Again, like I said, I'm not a sustainability expert, so a lot of this stuff to me, I think, and to a lot of people, is somewhat confusing. So we've had Jim on our podcast. We've provided information in our newsletter. I'm going to have Jim back on the podcast again to talk about how it's going to roll out with the businesses, because it's one thing from a community standpoint, it's another for the businesses to do it, but it's critical. And EDCO has been the leader in San Diego County with regards to organic recycling. So it's a great honor to be able to partner with them. So as I close, I just want to say we want to partner with the city on several things, but from a sustainability program, it's important for us to be able to get the information out. I think everybody agrees one of the biggest challenges we all have is messaging. And so we want to do everything we can to get this information out so people can live a sustainable life. And again, I love Paul's idea about the pledge. I think that's another great opportunity to get the information out, and certainly we're going to continue to do that. So that's all I have. Thanks again for having me on. And again, this is all new for us, and I'm excited that we're a part of this. And it does feel good to be able to do the right thing and start our chamber towards being able to inform the community and be able to inform our members of what sustainability looks like, how it can be incorporated into your lives, and how it can be incorporated into your businesses.
Thank you so much, Rick. I cannot tell you how much it warms my heart that you were jotting down some of Paul's ideas, just because that is the essence of what our coalition is. We're trying to make a platform where there's give and take. So everyone shares about their successes, shares about even maybe their failures, so that everyone can pull and pick from what applies to them. And I just wanted to personally shout out your close relationship with the city of San Marcos, just because I think that relationship is so special. This is our 6th event now, and I don't think any other chambers, they've mentioned having collaborations with the city, but none as close of a relationship as you. And I think that is definitely essential to making some progressive change in our upcoming future. And I did want to remind the audience that we will be having a Q&A at the end of the event. So if you have any questions you would like answered by the panelists, please go ahead and direct them towards Jesse Donkrains in the chat box, and he will be relaying them during the Q&A period. Our next speaker today will be Ann Silver from the Reno and Sparks Chamber in Nevada. Ann?
Hi, well, thank you very much. Thanks to the U.S. Green Chamber for inviting me, and I'll make this brief. First of all, I give credit to Rick and Paul. They've covered so many key issues, and I only wish I had the accent that Paul has. It's charming and easy to listen to. Let me be brief by describing the fact that our work on green and clean, sustainable climate goals started with our collaboration with the city of Reno. The city of Reno created a council for clean energy and sustainability. I was named to that council and spent a year and a half creating a full document that was approved unanimously, the only document that was ever approved unanimously by the Reno City Council. Right at that point, COVID hit. And so this great document that was available for 500,000 people to read was suddenly shelved. And it seemed a shame that so many groups had collaborated together to create this plan for the city of Reno was on a shelf and was not going to be read. So the chamber immediately took up the mantle. We made copies of the plan, we put it online, we sent it to over 2,300 chamber members and said, here are many of the things that businesses can do to respond to creating a more clean and sustainable environment. At the same time, Governor Sisolak put forth the Nevada State Plan for Clean Energy and adopted a very aggressive plan that is still somewhat in contention, but the whole push for clean, renewable energy has taken over the state. Back in 2014, Tesla moved to this area, and many environmentally friendly organizations have sought out what we call our high desert community as a great place to operate. But from the chamber standpoint, being the largest business organization in Northern Nevada, we also understood that many 20, 30, and 40 somethings were very driven by clean energy businesses and wanted to do business as consumers with businesses that adopted clean energy standards. So we worked hard to put together a program called the Green Business Training and Certification Program. And what you see on the slide is what we sent out to 2,300 members, a free business training and certification program. It's a 6-week-long program. In fact, it's about to start at noon today. It operates from noon to 1, free lunch is provided. And you can see from the agenda that we're covering all sorts of topics that result in these businesses getting an actual green certification window plaque that announces them as green energy certified, which we know is important to consumers and is important to people when they're choosing various places to go. If it's working on a green, sustainable environment and doing the things that we know will promote green, clean energy. They're more apt to attract many of the tourists we get. We're a tourism and hospitality community, being only 30 minutes away from Lake Tahoe. And we survive on the hospitality and tourism industry. So we know that people all over the country and the world who come here want to know what we're doing. So with this certification program, we talk about gaining a competitive advantage through the certification, how to lower costs through energy efficiency, how to enhance health and wellness through green cleaning, including the products that are to be used, transportation and how you can lower emissions through commuting alternatives, a lot of biking going on, and our entire Washoe County bus system has converted to electric buses. Water and wastewater, how to protect our water resources. The Truckee River runs right through the Reno Sparks communities, and how to conserve water resources. Solid waste and recycling, which we've all heard about for many, many years, but other than just putting your plastic bottles in a particular can, there is just so much, and even Rick alluded to on his slide, that can be recycled effectively and properly. We wanted businesses to know about that. So we're excited. We'll probably continue to hold this program to get as many businesses green certified as possible. We think it's what the chamber can do to not only enhance the business community, but to help businesses save energy, fuel, and cleaning and waste costs, and then be able to show the tangible results of green business certification. I should also mention that we formed something called the Silver, we're known as the Silver State because of mining. In February, we formed the Silver State Chambers of Commerce. We have 33 chambers in the state. We are up to 18 members, and that's allowing us to use one leveraged voice on behalf of clean energy initiatives, and that's 18 chambers that have signed on within the state to promote clean energy standards, the green business certification program, to incorporate it in their particular chamber, many of which are in rural areas and don't have access to the two major cities, Reno and Las Vegas. And so we're looking forward to that association promoting clean and sustainable initiatives throughout Nevada, which was not always known for clean energy. And it's sort of one car per person here, or one large truck per person. And so we're seeing a lot of electric vehicle initiatives started with Tesla and Panasonic relocating here, and that will just continue. So our commitment, and I like the word pledge, but our commitment to green energy and a clean, sustainable environment is very heartfelt and very much evidenced by the Reno Sparks Chamber of Commerce. We're thrilled to have the support of the city councils in Reno and Sparks, as well as the Washoe County Commissioners and the Governor's Office, and just great attendance in this program. And we look forward to doing it more often so that every business that is a member of our chamber has the green business certification. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Anne, and right on the dot as well. So I appreciate that.
Okay.
I will say congratulations on your unanimous vote for your document. And it's such a shame to see that the pandemic interrupted your progress, but your response, your chamber's response to what happened is so inspiring and very warming to hear, just because we went through something similar. I believe we initiated this coalition program only like 2 weeks before the shutdown occurred. And then right as that happened, we were like, shoot, what do we do from here? But originally we had planned to fill like one chamber per state to fill the whole US map. But because of this virtual Zoom era, everyone's on the same virtual platform and stage. So we went international way quicker than we expected. We started getting contacts from Germany and Mexico and Europe and wherever else. And I don't think that would have been possible without the virtual era. So there's always a silver lining in everything.
Yeah, thank you.
And our final speaker for today will be Amber West from the Rome Floyd Chamber in Georgia. Amber?
Hi, I'm Amber West. I am from Rome, Georgia, which is right outside of Atlanta, about an hour. So if you're not familiar with us, Google it. Berry College is located here. It's the largest and named the most beautiful campus in the world. So we have tons of land out here. We have 3 rivers. We're a tree city. We're a bee city. We love our city. And that kind of has what sparked us launching a green initiative. So we are still in the quiet phase of ours. We are not even having our first meeting until June, and we are just getting started. It actually even transpired from a conversation with one of our businesses that moved here from Canada, and they moved and they said, we don't know what to do with our boxes. We have so many boxes. The local recycling center says they cannot support this many boxes every day. So what do we do? So it became let's figure out how to help them. And then we kept getting more and more questions about manufacturers that we have in our location they wanted to do right. They wanted to do good things, but they needed help. And then our small businesses as well. We're also home to the Ball Cup aluminum recyclable cup. I don't know if you've seen it yet. It was at the Super Bowl, but it is a big deal. And we are all about our cup here. It's just to replace plastic cups. So we're excited about that. And we wanted to partner with all of our businesses. We actually have many, many businesses here that are just so focused on doing good. We have a tire manufacturer who created another company to safely recycle his tires the best he could. So we have that. We have a company that turns plastic bottles into carpet and fibers and all kinds of things. So we're blessed with many different things in our community that have led us to this point. So we will be launching in June a sustainability program, and we are looking towards doing a pledge as well, but then it'll be a tier system. So not only do they pledge, then they get certified, and we are partnering with our local manufacturers who have sustainability plans already, and then also our city and our county. Our city and county have a Keep Rome Floyd Beautiful campaign as part of the national office, and they are very excited. They've been wanting to get something like this launched forever, but they didn't feel like they had the clout to do it. They didn't have the support. Person who runs it is a one-woman team, and she needed help. So we are partnering with them, and we're just so excited to get started. We are so new at this, and we are lucky to have so many people already supporting us in our chamber. But we are open to all suggestions, but we already have a great group behind us that is ready to go, and we already have so many that the second we mention it, they are just thrilled. So we're excited to keep going in the future. But please send us anything that you have. We are just looking to grow with it.
That's amazing. Thank you, Amber. I personally was very excited to hear your story, just because we've had several chambers come on and they're like either crazy green or they're, have been developing these complicated programs, but we've actually never had anyone that's spoken about their launching period. And I think that's something that definitely needs to be heard, especially with the mission of our coalition is to help penetrate maybe chambers that want to get started on something but don't know how yet. So we really appreciate you sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
And that concludes all of our speakers for today. I would like to thank all of the panelists for sharing about their wonderful initiatives. I firmly believe that with the implementation of programs like this, we can achieve a more sustainable environment and hopefully get one step closer to a greener future. And I think the reason why these events are so special is because chambers are much more powerful and have a lot more influence than people make them out to have, just because they have a lot of influence over their business members and therefore communities as a whole, because people are, encouraged by the local businesses around them. And so with this, we can hopefully change the mindset of our society. And I would now like to hand it over to Jesse for our Q&A. And if any of the audience members want to shoot in any last minute questions into the chat box, Jesse will be handling the Q&A right now.
Thank you, Amanda. So our first question kind of relates to the point that we've got some chambers like the Burnaby Board that have been doing this for over 10 years. And then we've got some like Rome Floyd who are just getting started. So an audience member who's also just kind of getting started asked the Burnaby Board of Trade kind of, what are some resources that when you first began, you used to kind of get off on the right foot? And if possible, could you share those resources?
Yeah, that's a really, really great question. Because as a board of trade, we're a not-for-profit. We were the first, to really kind of work in this space. So we leveraged a lot of expertise in the community. I mean, there were a lot of people and partners who already kind of had the answers and the resources. And we, I worked really closely with those partners. And then would get sign off on those resources as I integrated them into the website. So I would really start, with that. There's a lot of people already who know what they're doing and have those resources and tips, like our local energy companies, Fortis BC, Hydro, I worked with them. Yeah, so that's kind of how we started.
That's great. Thank you. Our next question, this is a question that I think kind of relates to all of you. And you all talked about communicating to your community as well as to your businesses. My question is, what is the most successful strategy you've used? Rick, you talked about how you have a podcast, but what is the most successful strategy you've used to reach out to your community and educate them on not only the importance of sustainability, but the value it can add to businesses?
Yeah, I don't think there's one. I think the key is to be able to use multiple platforms. So all of them. So a podcast, social media, our weekly newsletter. I'm looking to we're working on a new website and also putting a tab on there for green initiatives or sustainability or something like that. So, something similar to what we've done during the pandemic when we created a COVID resource page. So this would be the same in the same vein where we could put that on our website and just be able to provide links so people can get all the information they need. So I think to answer the question, it's just using every platform that you can use.
Thank you. Would any other chamber like to add to that?
Yeah,
Yes.
I would echo what Rick said. I'm sorry, Tessa. We have a bi-weekly newsletter. We use social media platforms, podcast, and have a regular column in the local paper. So as Rick's indicated, every way you can get to people, including a chamber-sponsored spot on a local radio station. So we just used all of our members to literally provide us with that space to promote our message about green energy, sustainable initiatives, and reaching the state's climate goals.
And I would just echo what everyone else said. And I would also include, because we have we don't do a podcast, but we have our weekly all member newsletter. And then we have a quarterly dedicated sustainability newsletter. We engage a lot of people through our Green Talks events and then the workshops that I run. But I would also say we run task forces. So we invite our members to come in and say, you know, the federal government or the provincial government has just released this paper on, you know, XYZ. What's your feedback? And so we'll take, you know, we'll convene over 4 meetings. We'll get their feedback. We'll produce a document, send it back to the relevant sort of person. And through that, we've developed a really highly engaged group of members who know that there are kind of go-to people for whenever an issue comes up, and we continue to kind of grow that.
Incredible. Our next question from the audience. This one is another one that any of you can feel free to answer. So obviously, all of us here, all of these chambers are on the right track. Everyone has sustainability initiatives, whether they've been around for 10 years or in the case of the Rome Floyd Chamber, just getting started. How would you suggest, or what is a strategy you would suggest for reaching out to the chambers that are not quite there yet? The chambers that are maybe still tied up in some high emitting industries and need some kind of push to become more sustainable?
Well, I think for us, again, it's the collaboration of the chambers. So we were introduced to the U.S. Green Chamber from Carlsbad Chamber. So I guess my suggestion would be the one, if you're involved in the U.S. Green Chamber, reach out to your neighboring and your neighboring chambers and just get that information. That's how we got involved, is getting that nudge and then reaching out to Amanda and Michelle and learning more. So just forward that information to your chambers in your area, and I think that's the best way to start.
Great.
I would agree. And I think you can also, in Canada, we have our provincials, the BC Chamber, and you can go, I know that the Canadian Chamber is also active, but I think, for example, Paul is very active in the Western Association for Chamber Executives, and he's on the board. And I know that through our involvement, that a number of Canadian chambers are now also a part of that organization. So I think that's exactly the right way of growing it.
Great, thank you. Anyone else would like to add to that? If not, I can move on. All right, I'll move forward. So our next question, this one is for a specific chamber. To the Burnaby Board of Trade, to Tessa. As we all know and are aware, COVID-19 and the pandemic has had a huge impact on small businesses especially. And as we've talked about in our presentations today, sometimes this kind of impact and the financial worries that come with it make businesses less inclined to accept sustainability measures. How do you kind of reach them with, how have you reacted? And do you have any programs that have kind of you've created to face this challenge and to encourage sustainable practices even during very uncertain times like this?
Well, that's a really good question. So what we did as a chamber, first of all, in response to the impacts, the economic impacts, particularly on small business, was we went into overdrive. And so we convened a task force with ourselves and with a number of community members, and they came up with 13 recommendations, and it was for like immediate supports, things that could be done very quickly to support business. And then one of the other things that we did was launch a Center for Business Recovery and Resilience. And through that, we run programming with partners and things that we program ourselves that specifically relate to supporting businesses. So for example, one of the things we know, small businesses they really struggle with digital media. So we put together a digital development assistance program that we ran, I helped to run last fall. We worked with some co-op students from local education. We matched them with 50 businesses. We had websites built. We had social media content and capacity building with these business owners. So that was one of the things, but the bigger thing was the Center for Resilience, where we do a lot of very immediate hands-on programming on helping businesses to pivot and basically survive. But the thing that I've noticed, to be honest with you, is that, like 9 years ago when I would run my workshops, it would be very eager me and maybe 2 or 3 people in our boardroom. And now, for example, the carbon accounting workshop, I think we had 55 people show up to that. And then I did another, I call it Sustainability 101. And so the Sustainability 101 was also on sustainable procurement. We had some amazing companies in our community. And again, we had a lot of people show up to that. So I kind of feel like because we've provided both, like immediate, we were doing bi-weekly Zoom calls, really downloading program information and assistance for businesses for COVID relief. And at the same time, we were kind of continuing to push the sustainability message. In a weird way, I sort of felt like there were some people who actually wanted to listen a little bit more because they were like, okay, now we're in big trouble. And all our programming is free, right? So it's very low barrier. Whoever wants to join can join. So that's kind of how we did it. Did that answer the question?
I think it did. I cannot speak for the audience member who asked it, but I think that was a great description. Thank you. Next question. This is for Amber at the Rome Floyd Chamber. So I know you're still kind of getting things started, but the question is, do you have a plan in place for trying to encourage businesses that maybe aren't as inclined, either due to the fact that they're in the energy industry or are heavy emitters themselves and kind of anti-regulation? Do you have a plan in place for kind of reeling them in and encouraging them to also make a difference and become more sustainable?
Yes, that's actually one of our discussion points in our June meeting that we have. We have a great group, and I think that's going to be the real thing. In our community, we're not huge. We're about 100,000 people within the entire county. So it's really, and we have that small town feel. It's who you know in our community. So we have great people that have agreed to join this committee with us. And I think for us in our community, it's going to be those people reaching out to other people, because we see it now as a lot want to be a part of it, but we know there's going to be some that don't. And it's just education. And we want to educate those. But for us, it's going to be those community relationships. That's just huge for us here in any project that we're working on. It's getting someone that they trust and they truly believe in front of them, telling them what they know.
God, I'm also from a small town in Georgia, and I can attest to the power of community, especially down here in the South. With that, I will wrap it up and I'll hand it over to Michelle for closing remarks. Thank you so much to everyone for answering these questions.
Thank you, Jesse. I want to just say everyone here is so busy. I'm looking at all of our guests that have come on. I am looking at the speakers. We're running these amazing chambers, and for you to take time to come here to share your successes, to where Rick can take notes, I can take notes, everybody can learn from each other, is exactly, as Amanda said, why this exists. We have to share with each other. And in that sharing, if there are tools that you are, that you have, that you can actually just say, here, let's put this in a repository that we're open to it. And here's a tool and resources that have been really successful for us. We are taking notes. We are recording these meetings because we want to make sure that we save this in perpetuity and to be able to share with others. But sometimes it is just like, I don't want to go reinvent the wheel. Like, please just share with us. So if you have that and you are willing to share, feel free to send it to us. We'll start to create a coalition, a repository of resources that we can give to everybody. And we are in the field of giving as well. We give up our time and our resources here. We do want to make this free always, so people can just come into our space and collaborate. So I just want to say thank you. And just as a reminder, our focus is to make sure that we as chambers of commerce that we inspire others to lead in their communities on sustainability. Chambers of commerce being that lead. We were formed in 1599. There's chambers in almost every single country. We can have a bigger impact in this climate movement, in the sustainability movement, more than any other organization system out there. We can do it. You guys are on the leading edge. And I would just want to say, it is such an honor to be here with you. So thank you so much. And we will end just a minute early. So thank you and have a fabulous rest of your day.
Thank you.
And thank you to my team too. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.